The young boy Isagi. Yeah, sometimes life is unfortunate. Sometimes life takes away things from you. But as life taketh away, lifeth also giveth to you. Isagi Yoichi is known as a football player and one of Blue Lock's finest. But what would have happened if Isagi got hurt, and badly hurt, during an accident outside of football? What would have happened if Isagi got into a devastating car accident and unfortunately was injured so badly that he had to be experimented on to save his own life? Well, that is what we're going to be going into in this What If. Welcome to What If Isagi Was A Cyborg, and this is part 1 of that series, and I am Golden What Ifs. And if you enjoy, as always, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. If you're watching this on Spotify, make sure to leave a follow and a 5-star rating. With all that said, let's jump right into the video. Isagi would be young, not super young, but a little bit before high school. Him and his mother would be driving in a car, and, well, the unfortunate thing would occur. Isagi's car would go off the rails, and his side of the car would slam into like some sort of telephone pole, and it would be devastating. His legs, his arms, and his body would be pretty badly injured, and his mother would try to take him and rush him off to a hospital. The ambulance would eventually arrive to take part in helping Isagi go and basically go to the hospital. But they would say that the child will never walk again, never run again, never be able to do much of anything on his own again. And his mother would be absolutely saddened by this. And years would go by, a couple in fact, and Isagi would be in a perpetual state of not being able to do anything. But eventually something would arise. Isagi's skill as a football player would be somewhat known by people around, and people would start wondering why and what happened to him. And eventually word about Isagi's condition would begin spreading around and would begin to actually become local news. This would make Isagi pretty sad because he's still able to kind of watch shows and stuff like that, but he can't like get up and do things for himself. His mother would remind him that nothing is his fault and that it was all just some sort of coincidence, a really bad coincidence. And Isagi would say that he knows that, he does, but it still feels just as bad that it happened. But with all that said, eventually one day his phone would begin to ring, or really the phone of his mother, and it's actually an experimental kind of scientist that is on the other line. He talks about, well, getting Isagi for some tests, and he says that he actually has a way for him to play football again, and this project is funded. It's funded by some of the most rich people in Japan, and it's actually inspired by one Jinpachi ego, in which the woman or his mother would say that they're not so sure about this, like what are they going to do, and they do say it's experimental, but it would make Isagi, or be able to allow Isagi to run, jump, play football, maybe even be better than what he was. This would kind of excite Isagi at first, like kind of hearing of it, but his mother would be extremely hesitant. But seeing her son in the bed, she would realize that, well, what else is there to lose? At least for him, he believes that he has nothing to lose, so why not give it a shot? Isagi would be taken away to a bit of a laboratory, this doctor, this kind of hospital type place, but it definitely doesn't look like your normal hospital. And he would even meet all the scientists and even one Jinpachi ego. Jinpachi ego would come up to him and ask if he wants to still play football, if he wants to be the best, in which Isagi nods his head and he says that that's what he always wanted, to be the best at football. And, well, Jinpachi ego would tell him that it will be difficult and it will be extremely hard, but he still can be the best at football. That soon he will join his program by the name of Blue Lock, and if he wants to be the greatest striker alive, he can be given that chance. And an acceptance in that will fund the entire surgery and the entire experiment to get him to walk, run, and do everything again on his own. Isagi would nod as he signs the paper, and he says that he'll do whatever it takes to step on that field once again, and he'll do whatever it takes to be the greatest striker alive. The tests begin, and Isagi would kind of feel a certain way about certain things that are happening. I mean, these tests are definitely something kind of crazy. He can feel everything in a way, but it's all in a fog. And after a while, finally, he would wake up. Finally, he would find himself awake and moving. And it's as if he had a brand new body. He can walk around, run, and it felt like he was stronger than ever. He on accident actually kicked a wall, and it didn't feel like it hurt at all. And he looks at his foot and then looks at the wall, and there's a small indent in the wall as if he was strong enough to break it. Isagi asks more questions, but the scientists can't really give him many answers. But they do tell him that he will be sent off to a facility and that it's now time to basically hold up his end of the bargain. Isagi would nod, and he would be taken away, and he would arrive into an auditorium surrounded by people that play football. Isagi would be surrounded by player after player, and some of the players, if not all of them, would see Isagi and be shocked. Hey, isn't that the guy that, broke his legs, his arms, and all that? But didn't he get in that car accident? Everybody is whispering and talking about it, but Isagi seemingly isn't listening at all. He's laser focused, locked in, as if his eyes are kind of telling him to stay focused on what's in front of him. Stay focused as he looks at Jinpachi Ego. He basically daggers into him, and he basically just stares at him without looking away. Ego would notice this and kind of nod toward the boy, but Isagi wouldn't say much more as everyone continues to whisper, but Ego would give his whole spiel, talking about how having an ego, it will benefit them greatly, and how a real striker, the true strikers, have egos in themselves, and some of the best players have egos. He goes on and on about ego this, ego that, and eventually he would, hear one thing. Isagi would hear one thing. Ego would tell everyone that this is make or break. That this is how you become the greatest striker in the world, in Japan and the world, and how you will lead Japan's national team as its lead striker. He tells them all that if they're eliminated, that it's over for them, and they will never play on Japan's national team. Their hopes, their dreams will be shattered, and it will all be finished. Now, with that being said, Ego opens the doors and tells them if they so choose to walk through, well, then make that choice now, because there is no going back. There's no going back on what they're about to do. And if you're eliminated, well, then good luck ever playing football ever again. People would question if they should walk through the door. Should they not? But before they know it, Isagi would be jumping over toward the front of the entrance, and he would walk through those doors. He would walk through as Jinpachi Ego watches the one kid that he believes could be the best, could be the greatest. And all they had to do was create it, make it, and make a scientific experiment on a child that has lost everything. It's kind of like evil when you think about it. Jinpachi Ego thinks about it for a little bit, for just a second. And he's like, maybe it's kind of foul. Maybe it's kind of cruel. But then he shakes his head. Nah, this is for the love of football. Isagi would walk in to his room, or into the room of Team Z, and he would have his outfit on and everything ready and set. He would be literally the last person numbered. He would be the worst person here in technicality, because, he didn't even play high school football. He literally has been completely out of it. So no one even knows who he is, at least to an extent. But some people do remember him, a good amount do remember him. They remember him to be the boy that was injured severely in a car accident. So they don't really think too much about him. And even some of the people there question why he's there, especially knowing how bad it was. Good for him that he was basically able to come back from that. But come on, why would he do this to himself? Why would he approach it like this? Why would he decide to come back to football after being hurt so badly? What was the point? What was going through his head? Well, there's not much to be really said beyond that, because Isagi is excited and waiting for what's to come the very next time, or the very next time Ego speaks to them. Because once Jinpachi Ego speaks to them, he hears him talking about that they're going to play a little bit of a mini game to whittle out one more person. And what they're going to do is play a game of tag. Yes, tag. If you get hit, well, you're it. And frankly, if you are last to be it when the time runs out, it's over. It is over for you. It is over for your chances at becoming the best striker, and it's over for your chances at going on to become the striker for Japan's national team. It's over for you. Completely and utterly over. Now, with that all said, the ball would drop from the sky, and Isagi would be ready for anything. Would be just ready in general, awaiting for someone to kick the ball to him or for him to have to dodge and so on. I mean, as the ball drops from the sky, it's as if his body wants, it yearns to go grab the ball, so that's what he does. He darts at the ball quicker than anybody possibly could imagine. His speed, insane. He would kick the ball and he would immediately hit someone directly in the face with it, and it would be Kira. Kira would get nailed with it, and as Kira stands back up to get his get back, to basically hit Isagi back, he would look at Isagi and kick it, but Isagi would move out of the way as if it were nothing, as if his eyes saw it perfectly. His eyes were able to get him out of the way, dodging, weaving, easy for Isagi. And it's kind of trippy. It's kind of weird, the way that he's able to do it, the way he's able to move. How is he able to move in such a fluid and kind of structured way, and he doesn't even get hit? It's kind of insane. It's kind of amazing. And Isagi would just dip and dodge, easily not being hit with the ball. And frankly, it's kind of a work of art. Everyone watches as Kira tries his best to actually hit Isagi, tries to get a tag back on him, but no, he can't. He's not even close. But luckily enough, Kira can look and try to hit someone else, but soon he would realize that he wasted way too much time on trying to hit Isagi, and his time would run out. Not only his time in this minigame, but also the time that he has here in Blue Lock. He is now officially eliminated, and he is taken out of Blue Lock while he struggles, saying that it shouldn't have been him, and that he is a good player, and that this is ridiculous. That why are they making him leave? That he is better than most of the people here, so on and so forth. But of course, it's over for him. It is over, and it is done. And Isagi watches as he leaves and walks out. And that's it. Just like that. It seems like it was so weird. Such an odd feeling. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, what happens here, it feels like it happened so quickly that it just feels as if it's insane to think that someone like Kira, someone that's actually real good at football, would be eliminated so fast. Everyone else would be prepared for whatever's to come, and that next thing actually to come is an actual game. Yeah, a game with 11 strikers on one side of the field is kind of insane when you think about it, but still, it is something that's going to happen. And Isagi is kind of excited for this, and so is basically the entire team. But here's the thing, who's running what? I mean, seriously, what are they supposed to do? Like, who's going to run this or that? Everyone is a striker, blah, blah, blah. So how are they going to set this up? In which, of course, Jinpachi Ego would keen on in, and he would say that first off, way back when, if they do remember, or if they don't remember because they were too young or just not alive, when football was a thing, it used to be all strikers. At one point, that's how it began. Just like American football way back when used to kind of be this unorthodox thing, real football or soccer, right? Real football way back when used to be all strikers, and it's the same for almost every single sport. Every single sport has a baseline. We're just going back to the roots, going back to what it used to be, going back to what it was way back when. And he tells them all that they'll have to figure it out to prove that they're capable of so much more. In which Jinpachi Ego would leave off the screen and wish them all good luck. But at the end of the day, they have to figure it out. But what they don't know is that Isagi is basically put in a position, and every single time they play, all eyes are on him. The cyborg, someone that is built up of machinery or partial machinery, and someone that is perfect for this game, perfect for the game of football. So when their first game comes up, their very first game, well, it'll be against Team X, and Isagi looks to step on the gas and the pedal immediately, looks to take on whoever is in front of him immediately. So that's exactly what he does. It will be Team X versus Team Z, and it's obvious right off the bat that, well, everyone is extremely uncoordinated, and we knew that this was going to happen. I mean, no one really has coordination, at least at the moment, so this uncoordination is definitely a given, because, well, Isagi's team, or, well, Isagi's team and the other team all believe that they need to score goals themselves to actually more or less get through to the next round. I mean, that it's a safety blanket. If they score the most goals on their team, they will guaranteed go on to the next round, even if their team doesn't win enough games. But once everyone scrambles for the ball and it pops up, Bado would be there to retrieve it. He would quickly try to take the ball up the field even more, but Isagi would come out of nowhere, stealing the ball from him, and it seems like he is ready to make his attack. Isagi would sprint down the field faster than anyone could possibly imagine, and he would begin looking all around as if his brain was calculating where to put the ball. Multiple people were running down the field, and it seemed extremely uncoordinated. So he realized that certain people had higher likelihoods of scoring goals depending on if he passed it to them. But just as he enters a certain range in between the goal, he begins to scan, and eventually his scan hits 100% on somebody, and he looks. It seems that this one person can score goals as long as he's within a certain perimeter. He passes the ball to him, Kunigami receiving the ball and shooting as he scores a goal at a rate of 100% and not missing it. Isagi would say that he can tell that Kunigami's range is in that range specifically, and Kunigami says yes, whenever he's within that range, he'll be able to score goals very easily. In which Isagi would nod, and he would tell him that they're going to have a lot of fun. Isagi would race down the field, finding goals not only for Kunigami, but also himself. When he would kick the ball from distance, it was as if he was shooting a missile through the goal, and the goalie would be terrified to even try to block it, even hurting his hand when he tried to block it, and it still went through the goal, which would shock everybody. Isagi's way of playing seemed so interesting, though, as if he was reading the field so fast, as if his eyes just opened up and knew every pathway he should go, every move he should make, as if he had a chip in his brain that told him exactly what to do. In which, in a way, that was the truth. His eyes saw everything. He could even mimic the way Kunigami scores his goal showing it off right next to Kunigami, and Kunigami would be shocked. How did he do that? How was he able to do that? Nothing else could be said, nothing more should be said, but Isagi shows off his skills and everyone else's throughout the game against Team X, and domination against the so-called king would be absolutely ensured. But with that said, Cyborg Isagi seems to be loving his new advancements and seems to be loving that he's back on the field. This version of Isagi Yoichi seems to have created something that could truly be the best player, changing a child's life forever. One that sought dreams, one that sought everything he ever wanted. And just one experiment, it seems as if he can have it. But with that said, that's the end of part 1 of What If Isagi Was A Cyborg. And if you enjoyed, show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Peace.